The good news is Caitlin Clark is available to play against the Aces. The bad news is a perfectly healthy Caitlin Clark, for whatever reason, will be on a minutes restriction again. Oh, but the media, the Indiana Fever media, will be like, nothing to see here. Please move along. There's nothing to see here. Please move along.
Caitlin Clark has officially been cleared to play. There's no injury designation, she's available for the game, and yet she's still expected to be on a minutes restriction against the defending champions with the league MVP back on the floor. That news dropped less than 24 hours before tip-off, and it immediately sparked another huge debate among fans. Before we get into it, if you love basketball breakdowns, WNBA news, and the biggest stories around the league, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, because this season is giving us something new to talk about almost every day.
People are getting so pissed of this pro-Indiana Fever Stephanie White bullshit. You know, they want to keep saying, well, there's made-up narratives. Well, I know one narrative that ain't made up. Fans are pissed.
The reported plan is for Clark to play somewhere around 20 to 25 minutes. Naturally, that has people asking questions. This is the same player who, just a couple of years ago at Iowa, routinely logged 35 to 40 minutes a night while carrying one of the biggest offensive workloads in college basketball. Now she's healthy enough to suit up, but not expected to play anywhere close to a full game's workload. Adding even more fuel to the discussion is what happened with Aaliyah Boston. After returning from a leg injury, Boston stepped right back into a major role and logged 38 minutes in her first game back. There wasn't a strict minutes cap or constant substitutions. She simply played basketball. That's why many fans are wondering why Clark's return is being handled so differently. Head coach Stephanie White is once again at the center of the conversation. Earlier this week, Indiana experimented with short bursts, rotating Clark in and out every few minutes. The idea may have been to carefully manage her workload, but the execution didn't go over well. The offense struggled to find any rhythm, lineups constantly changed, and the Fever never seemed to settle into the game. It quickly became one of the biggest talking points coming out of that matchup. To White's credit, she has already said those 3-minute rotations won't be used again. The plan this time is expected to look different, but the overall minutes restriction remains in place. That decision has kept the discussion alive because many fans feel Clark is still being handled more cautiously than other stars returning to action. The comparison doesn't stop with Boston. Aja Wilson has also returned from missing time without the same level of public discussion surrounding a strict minutes cap. Whether the situations are identical or not, fans have naturally started comparing them. They're watching every rotation, every substitution, every post-game comment, and every coaching decision. With so much attention surrounding Clark, even the smallest adjustment quickly becomes one of the biggest stories in the league. This isn't just a debate happening in one corner of social media anymore. The conversation has spread across the basketball world. Fans are comparing rotations, tracking minutes, pulling up game logs, and breaking down coaching decisions possession by possession. Whether people agree or disagree, the frustration is clearly growing, and the discussion isn't slowing down anytime soon.
In any other sport would be parented like Caitlin Clark is. It upsets me that Clark allows it. Hopefully she's just biding her time. There are a lot of fans that are starting to want Caitlin Clark to get pissed off.
One reaction that keeps popping up is, I wish Caitlin would push back. That's an interesting shift because earlier in the season, most of the criticism was directed almost entirely at the organization and coaching staff. Now, some fans are wondering whether Clark should be more vocal herself instead of continuing to take the professional approach and letting the decisions speak for themselves. Of course, the reality is that none of us know what happens behind closed doors. It's entirely possible those conversations are already taking place privately. Clark may be discussing her role with the coaching staff, expressing her thoughts internally, or simply trusting the long-term plan. From the outside, though, all fans can judge are the decisions they actually see on the court, and those decisions have become the focus of the conversation. One theory that has gained attention online is that the coaching staff prefers a more balanced offensive approach, even if it means limiting Clark's workload as she returns. That's only speculation, not something the team has publicly stated, but it's a reflection of how fans are interpreting the recent rotation patterns. When people see frequent substitutions, shorter stretches on the floor, and lineups that don't seem to maximize Clark's strengths, they're naturally gonna ask questions. Whether that interpretation is fair or not, perception matters. In today's game, every coaching decision is analyzed almost instantly. Every substitution gets clipped, replayed, and debated across social media within minutes. That's simply the reality of coaching one of the league's most talked about teams. Another important point is the passion of Clark's fan base. These aren't fans who only check the box score after the game ends. They're watching every possession, every substitution, every timeout, and every post-game interview. They notice patterns, compare decisions from game to game, and aren't afraid to voice their opinions when something feels inconsistent. That's why the comparison to Aaliyah Boston's return continues to come up. Even though every injury and every player is different, many fans see one player returning to heavy minutes while another is carefully managed, and they naturally wonder why. Whether the coaching staff has information that isn't public or simply believes this is the best path forward, the decisions have created a conversation that now extends well beyond one game. As long as those questions remain unanswered, the debate around Clark's minutes is likely to continue growing. The reaction is starting to show up in more than just online discussions. Many fans have pointed to attendance numbers, ticket prices, and the overall mood surrounding the team as signs that expectations have shifted compared to last season. While there are plenty of factors that can influence crowds from year to year, the perception among many supporters is that the excitement hasn't matched what they expected heading into this season. Last year, the Fever became one of the biggest attractions in sports. Road arenas regularly filled up when Indiana came to town, and tickets in many markets became much harder to find because so many people wanted to watch Caitlin Clark play. That level of interest was remarkable and helped bring unprecedented attention to the league. This season, fans have noticed that tickets for some home games have been available at lower prices than they remember seeing during last year's surge. Ticket prices naturally fluctuate depending on the opponent, day of the week, and overall demand, but those changes have still become part of the larger conversation surrounding the team. For many supporters, it all ties back to one question: are fans getting to see Clark on the floor as much as they expected? The criticism has also become much more visible across social media. Hashtags calling for coaching changes have appeared. Comment sections are filled with debates after nearly every game, and every lineup decision seems to spark another round of discussion. Whether people agree with those opinions or not, it's obvious that emotions are running high. What stands out most is how engaged this fan base has become. Every substitution gets analyzed, every rotation is discussed, every post-game interview is dissected. That's what happens when one of the biggest stars in basketball is involved. The spotlight follows every decision, and even small coaching adjustments quickly become national talking points. Many longtime college basketball fans have carried those expectations with them into the WNBA. They're used to seeing star players spend long stretches on the court, control the offense, and remain involved during the biggest moments of games. When that doesn't happen, they're naturally going to ask why. That doesn't mean every coaching decision is wrong. Teams balance player health, long-term planning, matchup considerations, and performance all at once. Those aren't always easy decisions, and fans don't always have access to every piece of information behind them. Even so, unanswered questions often create more debate. Right now, supporters aren't just looking at the scoreboard, they're looking at rotations, minutes, and overall strategy. As long as those decisions continue to generate different interpretations, the conversation surrounding the Fever and Caitlin Clark isn't likely to quiet down anytime soon. Instead, every game is becoming another opportunity for fans to evaluate whether the team's approach is producing the results they're hoping to see. Is some of the speculation surrounding this situation likely to be true? Maybe not. But when a team makes a decision that surprises people without providing enough public context, fans naturally start trying to connect the dots themselves. That's what we're seeing right now. Once trust begins to slip, every unusual rotation, every substitution, and every post-game explanation gets viewed through a much more skeptical lens. For many supporters, this is no longer just about one game or 1 minute's restriction. It's about a series of coaching decisions that have raised questions over the course of the season. Whether those concerns are fair or not, perception has become a major part of the story. Every loss adds another layer to the debate, and every press conference is analyzed for clues about what the coaching staff is thinking. Some fans have also revisited Stephanie White's previous coaching stops, discussing reports and commentary from earlier in her career while comparing them to what's happening in Indiana today. Those conversations have circulated online, although it's important to note that drawing direct comparisons between different teams, different seasons, and different locker rooms is difficult without first-hand knowledge. Public speculation doesn't necessarily reflect what's actually happening behind the scenes. That hasn't stopped questions from spreading. Some people wonder whether the current rotation strategy is the best way to maximize the team's biggest star. Others believe the coaching staff is simply taking a cautious, long-term approach after Clark's return. Without hearing every conversation inside the organization, outside observers can only evaluate what they see during games. As the discussion has grown, fans have also broadened it beyond one team. Many have argued that the league as a whole faces an important challenge: finding the right balance between protecting players' health and putting the game's biggest stars on the floor as much as reasonably possible. That's a conversation taking place across professional sports, not just in the WNBA. Now all eyes turn to the next game. Clark is expected to play, but reports indicate her minutes will still be monitored. Stephanie White has already said the rotation will look different than it did previously, meaning fans will be paying close attention to how those minutes are distributed throughout the night. No matter the result, the discussion probably won't disappear. If the Fever struggle while Clark is on the bench, critics will question the rotation. If they win but Clark plays limited minutes, many will still debate whether the restriction was necessary. That's simply the reality when one of the league's biggest stars is involved. At the center of all of this is one undeniable fact: Caitlin Clark has brought unprecedented attention to the Fever and the WNBA. That spotlight means every coaching decision receives more scrutiny than ever before. Fair or unfair, that's the environment the organization now operates in, and every game moving forward is likely to be analyzed just as closely. At the heart of this debate is a simple question: if Caitlin Clark has been cleared to play, what is the best way to use her? That's the question fans keep asking, and it's why emotions have been running so high. Some supporters understand the cautious approach, believing the coaching staff is thinking about the entire season. Others look at the situation and wonder why one of the league's biggest stars isn't playing a larger role right away. A minutes restriction can be easy to understand when a player is still recovering, dealing with conditioning, or easing back after missing significant time, but when a player is available and healthy enough to suit up, fans naturally expect to see that player on the floor as much as possible. Whether the coaching staff has additional medical guidance or simply wants to be careful, the lack of public explanation has left plenty of room for debate. The reaction has been impossible to ignore. Across social media, fans have shared their disappointment, with many saying they tuned in specifically to watch Clark play. Others have questioned whether limiting her minutes is the best path for a team trying to compete. Those opinions don't represent everyone, but they show just how invested people have become in every decision surrounding the Fever. The organization undoubtedly has information that isn't available publicly, and every coaching staff has to balance short-term results with long-term health. At the same time, fans judge what they see on the court. When expectations are this high, every substitution becomes part of the conversation, and every game adds another chapter to the story. Looking ahead, the biggest challenge for Indiana may simply be communication. If the coaching staff continues managing Clark's workload, fans will want to understand why. Clear explanations can help reduce confusion, while unanswered questions often lead to even more speculation. No matter how this situation unfolds, one thing is certain: Caitlin Clark has changed the level of attention surrounding the Fever and the WNBA. Every lineup choice, every rotation, and every coaching decision now carries far more visibility than it would have just a few years ago. If you enjoy following the biggest basketball stories and want more WNBA news, analysis, and game breakdowns, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. The next game will give fans another chance to evaluate how the Fever approach Clark's return. If the rotation works and the team plays well, the criticism may quiet down. If questions remain, the discussion will only continue. Either way, all eyes will be on Indiana, because whenever Caitlin Clark steps onto the floor, every minute matters, and basketball fans across the country will be watching closely. What do you think? Is the cautious approach the right move, or should Clark already be playing a full workload?